it's Nadia from YARNutopia. Today we are making this awesome bucket hat. This is the Beach Vibes bucket hat. This is so fun to make. It is super simple, making 5 granny squares basically, sewing them together and sewing in your ends and then adding a brim on the edge to make it the bucket hat design. I really love this pattern. And you can make it in all different colors or a solid color or just 2 colors. I mean, it's endless. Like, you can make it so pretty in any color you want. So I'll get into the supplies and then get into the sizing, and then we'll get into making this piece. So big thank you to Lion Brand Yarn for these 3 colors, and thanks to Hirschner's for this willow yarn. These are the 4 colors I'm choosing. This yellow, this actually Modern Baby is actually discontinued, but if you wanted to get something similar, these are all size 4 worsted weight medium sized yarns. This one is a little bit thinner, like a light size yarn. So if you want to use a light yarn, which is like fingering yarn or worsted weight, you can use that. That's like these 2. And these 2 here are just size 4 medium worsted weight polyester yarns. This one is a cotton blend, which I would have as my main color because it is summer and this is a very light yarn, hence the name summer yarn for this yarn. So I really enjoyed working with this. It's not so like stiff. It's very flexible and breathable, and I really liked that. So that's my main color. This is Willow Yarns Summer. I'm not 100% sure if this is discontinued either, but they have a yarn that's very similar to this, and this one is called Waterfall. So if you wanted to look this up online, I got this at Hirschner's craft store, but you can try to find this online at Willow's website. Also, this Modern Baby, this was just a yellow, just straight yellow here. And again, this is just a discontinued yarn that's just yellow for the middle. This one is a Vanna's Choice. I don't remember what color this was, but it is listed in the written pattern in the materials you'll need section. Shoot, I don't remember what, I think it's like a hot coral color, but I don't remember what the name of it was, but it was a Vanna's Choice. And then this is Basic Stitch Anti-Pilling. This one is just baby pink. So those are all the colors I'm using, and it turned out super fabulous. I love this color combination. You can use any color combination you'd like in any polyester or cotton yarn. We are using an H size crochet hook, which is 5 millimeters. This hook is from the Etsy shop Would Be Fancy. You can see the nice ridges in the thicker handle. This is a hand-carved wooden crochet hook handle, and my favorite crochet hook is fixed inside there permanently. You can get these crochet hooks at the Etsy shop Would Be Fancy. There are ones like this, or there's ones like this where it's really cut as the grooves in your palm of your hand and around your fingers, which I really like these ones too. So you can check those out, whether you crochet like this or crochet like how I crochet like this. It's really universal for all crocheters. So I really enjoy these crochet hooks, and I think you would too if you checked those out and got one of your favorites. Also, a scissors and a yarn needle are needed just to like sew the squares together and then sew in your ends and then cut your yarn, obviously. So those are all the supplies. For sizing, I had somebody ask me how to make this for a toddler because I only have the written instructions for an adult. I would suggest either using a smaller crochet hook. You can go down to a G hook or an F hook. F is 3.75 millimeters. G is 4 or 4.25 millimeters. I would go down a size, that way your stitches are a little tighter. I would also recommend leaving off this last round, round 4 of your square. See, the square starts in the shape on round 3, and then if you sewed just round 3 together, that would make a fabulous hat as well, but you would lose the blue in this area here, which still could make a fabulous hat, just a little smaller. I would highly recommend though using a smaller size hook. So it's really You know, you can make it for a smaller head or the adult size head. So this one is 22 inches. We're measuring from above the brim at the brim start across, okay? And it looks like it's about 11 inches across, which around would be 22 inches around. And if you measure your head, you come around as an adult, should be up about 22 inches. So, or roughly in that area. And this is, I mean, quite stretchy. So even if I was 23 inches around, it would still fit. So that is all the sizing information that I have for you, and all the supplies we need. Big thank you to Lion Brand Yarn and Hirschner's for providing all this fabulous yarn today. Big thanks to my dad, who's over my shoulder today actually filming, and he's editing this video tutorial and posting it up on YouTube for everyone to see. So if you are on YouTube watching this, hit subscribe before we start. And let me grab some yarn here and we'll get started in making the Beach Vibes bucket hat. Alright, I'm going to start with yellow here. This is the Modern Baby yellow yarn. And I'm going to start off with a magic ring. You can start off by chaining 3 and working in the 3rd chain from the hook for round 1, if you know how to do that. But I am going to, so we take our working yarn, here's our short end. Okay, we take our 2 fingers, wrap, 1, 2, 3. Okay, just like this, and I hold it with my ring finger and my thumb. I hold that straggler there. Okay, and you can also pinch your working yarn in there as well. Okay, so it's all tight like this. Okay, then you take your crochet hook, go under these 2, and hook up the working yarn, which is attached to the ball of yarn. Pull that underneath those like that. Okay, if you want to just go like that, you don't have to twist it or anything. And now work your yarn. So this is my working yarn. We're going to chain 2. So 1, yarn over, pull through, and 2. Okay, that doesn't count as anything. That's just going to get me the height that I need. And now I took my fingers out of the loop. It's all connected. Okay, and I'm just going to pull my strand a little bit. And we're going to work into this circle here, okay? We're going to put, what is it, 24? I'm sorry, no, 12. 12 double crochet into the magic ring. Sorry, I don't know why I said 24. That's a lot. Okay, so yarn over, go into the ring that you made. Okay, yarn over, pull through. Yarn over and pull through 2 of the loops on your hook. And then yarn over and pull through those other 2 loops on your hook. Okay, that's a double crochet. Now this, oops, just slipped. Hang on. I just lost my loops. I'll show you that again. But I wanted to show you that this beginning here, this chain up 2 here, does not count as a stitch. Okay, so we have to do 12 of the double crochets. So again, yarn over, go into the circle, yarn over and pull through, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, and then yarn over and pull through those other 2 loops. Okay, it might look a little wonky at first, but once we pull our strand here, it tightens everything up in the center. See how that's getting smaller? So we're just going to do 12 double crochets into this middle, and then I'll show you how to tighten everything up. We fasten off after round 1, and then we'll go on to round 2. Alright, so I put my 12 into the middle there, and now I'm just pulling this straggler here, strand, and I'm pulling it tight. And you could even pull your yarn a little tight or out like this and just maneuver your piece how you need. And with those 2 strands inside, that will help to tighten everything. The only thing is you don't want to pull your yarn too hard and then break it. So you just got to go slowly and trust the process, and that closes the middle right there. Lovely. Once it's closed in the center, making the magic ring, you could slip stitch to the very first double crochet of this round. So let me tighten my yarn here. So if you have to count back 12, do that. Skip this chain up 2 here, go into the top of your stitch right there, yarn over, pull through and through. Okay, and now I'm going to fasten off. So I'm going to chain 1 and cut my yarn. And pull it all the way through and pull tight. And there's round 1. For round 2 now, so we'll sew in these stragglers later. So for round 2, I used this hot coral color. So let me grab that color here. And in any stitch around, you want to just insert your hook, which I'm just going to go into the stitch that we slip stitched into. I'm just going to go into that stitch and hook on my yarn. I just folded it in half, hooked it on, and pulled it through. And that's not going to unravel or anything. Okay, and we're going to chain 2. 1, 2. Okay. Now in each stitch around for round 2, it says 3 double crochet cluster in the same stitch. So a beginning double crochet cluster, since this chain 2 looks like it would be part of the stitch, to make it look kind of seamless, what I usually do is yarn over, go into the stitch, yarn over and pull it through the stitch like that, yarn over and pull through 2 loops. Okay, so in the beginning, since this chain 2 is here, it looks like there's already a 2 double crochet cluster. We need 3 double crochet clusters. So yarn over, go back in, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, and we have a 3 double crochet cluster as our first stitch here, with the chain 2 is included in that stitch. Then we're going to yarn over and pull through all 3 of those loops. And there is our 3 double crochet cluster. Now we're going to chain 2. 1 and 2. Okay, now in each stitch around we want to make a 3 double crochet cluster. So we're going to, I'll show you how to do the rest of the stitches around here. Yarn over, go into the very next stitch on your round, right here. Yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, hold it, yarn over, go back in, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, hold it, yarn over, go in, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2. So now we have 4 loops on the hook. Yarn over and pull through all 4 loops. And there's your 3 double crochet cluster. Then chain 2, 1 and 2. Okay, and we want to continue doing that all the way around. So yarn over, go into the very next stitch and make your 3 double crochet cluster. 1, 2, 3. And then yarn over and pull through all 4 loops. And then chain 2 and repeat in the very next stitch. So you'll have 12 3 double crochet clusters in this round. Okay, so I'll do that and I'll come back and show you how to finish this round and go on to round 3. Alright, I'm just finishing round 2 here. I just chained 2 here after my last stitch. I'm going to go into, actually not the stitch itself right here, I'm going to go in the chain after the stitch right here. Okay, just go in there, yarn over, pull through and through. Okay, and I've already cut my yarn short because I'm going to change color, so I'm going to chain 1 and pull that short through there, just like that. So that is round 2. So you can see all the clusters around. There should be 12. Okay, now going on to the next round, we're actually going to work in the chain 2 spaces and we're going to start making our square shape. So you can start in any chain 2 space, just insert your hook. I'm going to work with this baby pink color, hook that on my hook and pull through. Okay, and we're going to chain 2, Okay, this chain 2 doesn't count as anything. Okay. You could, for the first stitch here, make a stacked single crochet if you've learned how to do that stitch. Stacked single crochets till you get the height of your double crochet, and that could count as your first stitch. I highly recommend learning how to do the stacked single crochet method to start your rounds. It is really easy and works really well. No gaps. But I'm just going to chain 2 here, and we are going to work round 3. It says put 3 double crochets in that same space. So yarn over, go into that chain 2 space, make a double crochet. You know how to make double crochets like we did for round 1. So there's 1, 2, and 3. Fabulous. Now this is going to be a corner, so we're going to chain 2, 1, 2, and in that same space there, where we put those 3 double crochets, we're going to put 3 more. So yarn over, go in, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. There's 1, 2, 3. Okay. Now, in between your groupings, when you're making your sides, you can decide if you want to chain 1, you can. If you don't want to chain anything, you don't have to. But I'm going to chain 1 here, just like this, go to the next space, and just put 3 double crochets in there. 1, 2, and 3. Okay? And do that same exact concept again. So if you chained 1 between your groupings, chain 1 here. If you didn't, just hop into the next chain 2 space here and make your 3 double crochets. We're just going to do that same thing though. So we chained 1 after the corner, put 3 double crochets in that chain 2 space, chain 1, put 3 double crochets in the next chain space. Okay, oops. And then the next chain space is going to have our next corner. So we're going to chain 1, hop into this next chain 2 space here, and make your corner. Our corners are 3 double crochets, chain 2, and 3 more double crochets in that same space. So 1, 2, 3, chain 2, 1, 2, and 3. There you go. There's one side, corner, side, corner. So now we're just going to repeat from here to here all the way around. So I'm just going to chain 1, hop to my next chain 2 space and make 3 double crochets, then chain 1, hop to the next chain space and just put 3 double crochets in there, and then chain 1, and then make your corner in the next chain space. And do that all the way around, and then once I'm finished with round 3, I'll show you what to do next. Alright, just finishing up round 3 here. Chain your 1, slip stitch to the first double crochet here, okay, not this chain up 2, just into the chain or into the stitch at the top here. Yarn over, pull through and through. I've already cut my yarn, so we're going to chain 1, cut your yarn, pull it all the way through and pull tight. And that is round 3, and it made a square. If you stretch it out a little bit, you can see the square shape coming to life, and it looks great. Okay, going on to round 4. This is our last round. Now if you wanted to make that toddler size, like I had said, just stop here, make all 5 squares like this one, and then skip ahead to the part where I sew everything together, and you can do the same exact sew method that I do. But at this point I'm going to do round 4, so we're going to start in a corner chain 2 space. Okay, I'm going to grab my blue, which is my willow yarn, and I just want to make sure I have the right end. There we go. Alright, so we're going to, again, hook on our yarn, pull it through, okay, chain 2, 1, 2, okay, we're in a corner here. So for round 4, it says put 3 double crochets into this chain 2 space here. So yarn over, go in, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. So there's 1, 2, and 3. Then it says chain 2, 1, 2, and put 3 more double crochets in that corner. 1, 2, and 3. Okay, now just like last round, we can chain 1 if we want, or don't chain anything and just hop into the gaps between the groupings and make your granny square design. So if you're familiar with granny squares, just continue on doing how you would 3 double crochets in between the groupings, and in the corners put 3 double crochet, chain 2, and 3 double crochets in the corner chain 2 spaces. For this round I'm not going to chain between my groupings, so I'm just going to put 3 double crochets in between the gaps of my groupings. So 3 there, hop to the next gap, 1, 2, 3, hop to the next gap, 1, 2, and 3. Okay, and then the next corner, chain 2 space, has 3 double crochets, chain 2, and 3 more double crochets in there. Okay, and then just continue doing the same thing for the next side and each corner around. So super simple granny square style. So there it is. 3 double crochets, 3 double crochets, 3 double crochets, and then the corner is 3 double crochets, chain 2, and 3 double crochets. So now on this side, we're just going to repeat this, and then in this corner, repeat this. So just continue all the way around, and when I finish this round, I'll show you what to do next. Alright, I'm just going to slip stitch to the first stitch here. I just finished my last side. I'm going to go into the first double crochet, yarn over, pull through and through, and I've already cut my yarn, so I'm just going to chain 1 and pull it through and pull that tight, and that is fastened off. So you have to make 5 of these squares total. This is the size it is, the size it will be, and don't worry about it being a little wonky or anything, because it's going to fit around your head so it doesn't have to lay super flat. I did want to show you how to sew in your ends. I suggest you sew in your ends as you go, because we do change colors so often that at the end it's just going to be such a headache, and you want to be able to enjoy your hat. So I just yarned my needle with the straggler here, and I'm just going underneath the stitches just like this and hiding them in the same color that the straggler is. So it's this baby pink here. I'm just going underneath all these stitches. Then once I'm satisfied with the length of it, I stretch it out a little bit, and then I cut any extra. Okay, so I'm going to sew in this blue one here on my last round. I sewed in the yellow and the hot coral already off camera. But while you're just making all 5 of your squares, I am just going to sew in some ends, and then I'll be back and show you how to attach all the squares together and make it into a hat. Alright, I have my 5 squares all done here. So you're going to lay one out in the center, okay, and then you're going to lay one on each side of that middle square, somewhat like this. Okay, so that is what we're working with. Okay, now what we're going to do is just take 2 of the squares. So I'm just going to take these 2, leave these ones there, and you're going to take this square and flip it over the top of it like this, so the 2 front sides are facing each other. Okay, just like that. And now we're just going to sew starting from this edge. I'm going to use a contrasting color, so I liked the color we used in round 2. I'm going to use that to sew these together. Okay, and I'm just going to use my yarn needle and this color yarn. Okay, and we're going to sew this all together as one. So basically around this whole frame of this middle square here. So I want to go all the way around here. So I'm going to pull up enough yarn to go all the way around. Okay, so again, we're taking 2 of them, flipping this one over the top of this one, and we're going to start in this corner. And what I like to do is just work in the stitches. Okay, so on the stitches on the side corresponding with each other, line them up. Okay, this chain, first chain on this side here, and this one on this side here, just like that. Okay, and I'm going to pull up a lot of yarn to go all the way around. Okay, and we're going to whip stitch. So whip stitching, if you know how to do it, great. We're going to go from this stitch here to this stitch and then pull all the way through. Okay, and you don't have to pull it tight or like sew it super tight, because you kind of want to see this color as it's stitching. Or if you don't want to see that color, if you don't like that style, you can use the same color as your last round to sew these together. So again, next stitch, just going up through here, up through here. So for whip stitch, you're always going through the same side. Okay, so I'm always going through this stitch down here first, and then up to that stitch. Okay, so we're always going through the same, this side to this side. And they all should have the same amount of stitches, so they all should be lined up perfectly. Okay, so I'm going to sew all the way across here in each stitch till I get to this part. Then when we are done on this part, I'm going to flip this down, attach this square like this, and start sewing across this way. Okay, I'll show you how to do that when I come to it. So I'm going to sew this all the way across here until I get to this corner, and then once I get to that corner, I'll show you what to do next. Alright, I'm just finishing this side, so I just sewed across here. So now I'm going to flip this back. Okay, first of all, look at how fabulous that looks. I love adding the contrasting colors so you can see how it's sewed together. That's so cool. So now I'm going to add this square to the middle one. So we're going to flip this one so the right sides are facing each other. I'm going to turn this way. Okay, and we're going to sew along here. So go through, again, the bottom one first, and then this top right here. Okay, and then we're just going to sew it exactly how we did the first square, just across to the next corner. And this happened to me in the other square too. Since this is so long, it like keeps getting tangled a little bit. There we go. So just have some patience. Work slowly. There we go. And then it should work out that way. There we go. So again, whip stitching is always going through the same side first for each stitch. So same side, just like that. Oh, basically just going around in a spiral. Awesome. So then once I get all the way across here to this corner, okay, over here, then I'm going to flip this down. Okay, add this square to this side, flip them together, sew across here, okay, then flip this out, and then add this square right here. Okay, so once all 4 of these squares are sewed to the middle square here, I will come back and I'll show you what to do next. Alright, I just sewed this last side here, so this is what it should look like. So we have the 2 stragglers, one that was connected to the ball of yarn and then the one we were sewing with. So once you come back all the way around this square, just so you can tie it in a knot, or you can sew it in, but tying it in a knot seems the best way because then it won't unravel. So I'm just connecting the 2 and tying them in a knot. And then you can sew in this end later. Cool. I'm just going to cut it short. So this is what the inside of the hat will look like. Okay, and this is the outside so far. So now we have to connect these 2 sides, these 2 sides, these 2 sides, and these 2 sides. Okay, so how we're going to do that, we're going to flip it to the inside of the hat, the back side of the squares. Okay, and very similarly to how we did this sewing method, we're going to sew these 2 together. So bring this corner and this corner together. Okay, like this. Okay, and then we're going to take our yarn, same contrasting color, yarn our needle, okay, and same exact concept, except now we're just doing each side one just across here. Okay, so let me go like this. I'll put my yarn on this side. Okay, same whip stitching method. Just like this, all the way up until you hit this corner. Now, to fasten this off, because you're not joining the 2 ends and then tying it in a knot like I showed you, you have to fasten off and sew in your ends on each end. So like this one that's attached to my ball of yarn, I'll show you how to do it right quick. So this is your little straggler, and then the other straggler will be on this side when I sew it all the way through. What you want to do is take your yarn needle, okay, yarn your needle with that end. Oh, come on. I think it's because my needle is bent. It's causing problems. See that? It's a little bent. Anyway, we're going to go around, kind of like how we are whip stitching, go around into those first stitches, just like this. Okay, keep your finger in that loop that you create while you wrap this. I don't want my fingers to get in the way, so I'm trying to like do this way. Okay, and then you're going to remove your finger from there and put your needle in and make a little loop knot, just like that. Then I'm just going to sew in this end underneath these stitches, and that's it. That's how you fasten that side off. Okay, so I'm just going to continue whip stitching up until the very top of this square. This is the top right here. So I'm just going to continue sewing up here, and then I'll show you what to do next. Alright, I'm just fastening off this piece here and sewing in this end. Okay, so all you have to do is just do that for all the rest of the sides on this hat, and then while you're doing that, I'll sew in some of these ends here. I just have to fasten off, and then, like I showed you earlier, just wrap it around in a couple stitches, pick up a loop, go back through the loop, pull tight, and then sew in this end. And this is the inside of the hat, so nobody's going to see that sewn in. Okay, stretch it out, cut extra, and I just have to do this one. Okay, so I just have to sew this end in. Just like this. Underneath the same color where I put these stitches, but again, this is the inside of the hat, so nobody's going to see that. And then trim it. Okay, so then you want to flip your hat right side out, and this is what it should look like once you have sewn all those sides together. That looks pretty awesome. Now if you want a hat just like this and like a beanie hat, I would just crochet the granny stitch all the way around the base without increasing to make a brim, but you could just go straight down without making any brim and just make a beanie hat, which is actually super fabulous too. But I want to make a brim and kind of have it flare a little out, but not too flared, just enough to make it look good. So let me grab my blue yarn and my crochet hook, and let's get started on making the brim of this hat. Alright, to start the brim, we are going to flip our hat like this so it looks like a bowl, and we are going to start in the top right corner here of one of the squares on the side. So this spot right here, or this spot right here, or this spot right here, or this spot right here. Wherever you want to start this round, we're going to start in a right corner of a square. Okay, so I'm just going to insert my hook right in here. Grab your brim color, which mine is this blue. Okay, hook it on your hook, and then chain 2. Okay, and now in this space we are going to put 3 double crochets. 1, 2, and 3. Okay, now you can decide if you want to chain 1 between your groupings or not chain 1, but I'm going to chain 1 because it will give more of a flare. And we're going to go between the groupings here on our square, just putting 3 double crochets into each gap. So 1, 2, and 3. Then hop, chain 1, then hop to the next. 3 double crochets, 1, 2, 3, chain 1, hop to the next, and do that. Okay, then in the corner spaces, oh, I have one more, sorry, hang on, I'll tell you what to do in the corner space in just a sec. 1, 2, and 3. Okay, so now we're at this corner here, chain 1, we're going to do 3 double crochets in there, 1, 2, and 3, then chain 1, and now hop over the seam and go right into the next corner of this square. Okay, so we're just putting 3 double crochets and chaining 1 between the groupings in each gap around the edge. That's round 1, and then I'll show you how to finish round 1 and go on to round 2. Round 2 is where we're going to increase, so I'll show you that next. Alright, just make sure to chain 1 at the last, after the last grouping, and then we're going to slip stitch to the beginning double crochet stitch. Skip that chain 2 there, just go into the stitch, yarn over, pull through and through, and that was round 1. of the brim, just super simple. And now if you didn't want to do the flared bucket hat look, you could just continue doing that round 1 of the brim, and it would just make it longer and longer. And you could have a ski cap type of look, like a beanie cap, which would look really cool. But we want to flare this out a little bit, so I'm going to increase. So we're going to work in this chain 1 space, the last chain 1 space of this round right here, that's like right above the seam, as you can see. So if you need to slip stitch back in there, you can, to kind of get centered in there. And we are going to make an increase in this spot. So we're going to chain 2, which doesn't count as anything. We're going to put 3 double crochets. 1, 2, 3, then chain 1, and then put 3 more double crochets in there. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so it's 3 double crochets, chain 1, and 3 double crochets in there. Now we're just going to chain 1 and go into the next gap right here, this chain 1 space. And we're going to do that, let's see here, it says, I'm just reading my pattern here, same stitch, hang on, round 2, 3 double crochet in the same chain, okay, then chain 1, 3 double crochet in the next space 5 times, okay, so we're going to do this gap, that's 1, chain 1, hop to the next one, this will be number 2, so 1, 2, and 3. Okay, then chain 1, hop to the next one. This will be 3, 1, 2, 3, chain 1. This next gap here will be 4, 1, 2, 3, then chain 1. And this next one is 5. Okay, I see. So then we get to the next seam here. And we are going to increase. So chain 1. And now in this gap here, it's right above a seam that we sewed our squares together. So in this gap, we are going to put 3 double crochets. 1, 2, 3, then chain 1, and then 3 more double crochets in there. 1, 2, 3. Cool. And that's our increase. Okay, so just repeat that. So then in the next 5 spaces, we're going to put 3 double crochets in each of those next 5 gaps until we get to this gap that's right above this seam. Okay, and we're going to put 3 double crochet, chain 1, 3 double crochet in there, and then this last one here is over here. Okay, make sure you chain 1 in between your groupings there, and I'll just repeat that. And if you need to follow along with the written instructions, that's on my website, YARNutopia.com. You can check that out. Otherwise, I'm going to work this pattern around round 2 of the brim, and then I'll come back and show you how to do rounds 3, 4, and 5. Alright, make sure to chain 1 at the end of your last grouping, and then slip stitch to the first double crochet right there. Yarn over, pull through and through. And now rounds 3, 4, and 5 are exactly how we did round 1 here. We're going to chain 2 and just put 3 double crochets in each gap or each chain 1 space between the groupings. So 3 double crochet, chain 1. And then this is 1 right here. We are putting instead of increasing anymore, we're just putting 3 double crochets in that chain 1 space that we created. That is where we made it, where our increase was there. Sweet. Then just chain 1 and hop to the next chain 1 space and put 3 double crochets. Then chain 1 and hop to the next chain 1 space, and it's that easy. And you can do this for rounds 3, 4, and 5, or just rounds 3 and 4 if you don't want like a super long brim. But I did 5 rounds total, and that was the length that I wanted it to be, and it looked super fabulous. And this one is too. So once you finish your however many rounds you want to do, slip stitch to the beginning stitch, and then fasten off and sew in your ends, and I will come back and show you the final piece. Alright, just finished my 5th round here. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Slip stitch to the first double crochet, yarn over, pull through and through. Chain 1, cut your yarn, pull it through and pull tight. Okay, so this is what it should look like. Okay, so you can see the increase there. And then so that was round 2 of the brim. So round 1, round 2, round 3, round 4, round 5. And that is it. Fabulous. That's the Beach Waves bucket hat, all done. Thank you so much for watching and learning how to make this hat with me. This was so fabulous. And I enjoyed, making this pattern, figuring it out, and writing it up. The written pattern is on YARNutopia.com, and you can see on there Beach Waves bucket hat. I'm just sewing in this end here. I have to say a huge thank you though to Lion Brand Yarn and Hirschner's for providing this fabulous yarn. This is so soft and lightweight that it is just going to look so fabulous this summer. I'm going to be rocking this on the kayak, at the beach, at the poolside, at the mall. I mean, really everywhere I want to go, I'm just going to wear this hat. It's going so pretty. And I hope you do too. Thanks to my dad back there who's filming this whole tutorial and editing it and posting it up on YouTube for everyone to watch. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. We are gaining subscribers so much. We appreciate everybody's support and everybody who creates with me. It's so fabulous. Make sure to check out all the links in the description of this video where you can get these supplies, as well as links to all my social media. I'm on TikTok, so go to YARNutopia on TikTok and hit that follow button, and I'll see you there, and I'll see you next time. Happy hooking!